Canada is often seen as the land of politeness and friendliness, where sorry is a national catchphrase.
I'm sorry about that, eh?
But beneath this courteous veneer, how deep does the spirit of inclusivity truly run? Today, we explore the hidden layers of internalized racism within Canada's English-speaking, French-speaking, and Indigenous communities. In a nation celebrated for its kindness, the experiences of internalized racism paint a different picture, challenging our perceptions and inviting us to look beyond the stereotype. In the vibrant cities of English-speaking Canada, the fabric of society is richly woven with threads of diverse cultures and ethnicities. From the bustling streets of Toronto to the scenic locales of Vancouver, these urban landscapes paint a picture of a multicultural haven. But beneath this mosaic lies a more complex reality, a reality where internalized racism subtly, yet significantly, impacts the lives of many. In this part of Canada, internalized racism often manifests in ways that are not overtly visible. It hides in the nuances of daily interactions, in the undercurrents of societal norms. Our first example takes us to the corporate towers of Toronto. Here, young Black professionals navigate the complexities of code switching. They adapt their speech, behavior, and even appearance to align with a predominantly white corporate culture. This adaptation, while often a survival mechanism in the workplace, leads to a dilution of their cultural identity and perpetuates a narrative that values conformity over diversity. The impact is twofold. On the individual, it creates a constant internal conflict between authenticity and acceptance, and on a broader scale, it reinforces a workplace culture that undervalues diversity. The consequence is a professional environment where true inclusivity remains elusive and cultural diversity is often more a policy statement than a lived reality. Our second example shifts to the university campuses of Vancouver. Here, Asian Canadian students confront stereotypes that label them as the model minority, academically gifted but socially reserved. This stereotype not only overlooks the diverse personalities and talents within the Asian Canadian community, but also places undue pressure on these students to live up to an unrealistic standard. The internal struggle to reconcile personal identity with societal expectations often leads to mental health challenges and a feeling of isolation. These examples from English-speaking Canada highlight how internalized racism is not just about overt acts of discrimination, but also about the subtle, everyday norms and expectations that shape individual identities and societal interactions. As we peel back the layers of internalized racism in English-speaking Canada, we turn our focus to Quebec. Here, the intertwining of language and identity weaves a different story. How does the Francophone reality influence the experiences of internalized racism? In the heart of Canada, Quebec stands as a bastion of French culture, its streets echoing with the language of Molière. This Francophone province, rich in history and pride, presents a unique facet of Canadian society. But within its vibrant cities and quaint towns, there exists a less visible yet impactful phenomenon: internalized racism, shaped by the nuances of language and cultural identity. In Quebec, particularly among Haitian immigrants in Montreal, internalized racism can be seen in the context of language. Despite French being their native language, Haitian immigrants often experience discrimination based on their accent and are marginalized within Quebec's French-speaking society. This discrimination leads some to abandon cultural markers like traditional Haitian Creole expressions in favor of a purer Quebecois French as a means to gain acceptance and avoid bias. This subtle form of internalized racism highlights the complexities of linguistic identity within multicultural societies. In Quebec's education system, students from French-speaking immigrant families, especially those from African nations, often confront stereotypes that question their intellectual abilities and potential. A A specific instance is observed in the lower academic tracking of these students into more vocational training rather than academic streams based on assumptions about their capabilities and future prospects. This systemic bias leads to a form of internalized racism, where students begin to doubt their academic potential and align their aspirations with the limited expectations set by the prevailing stereotypes. This internalized racism not only affects their immediate educational choices, but also has long-term impacts on their career, opportunities, and self-perception. The cycle of low expectations and reduced opportunities perpetuates the stereotype, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that hinders the full realization of their potential and contributes to the maintenance of societal disparities. Turning our attention to the Indigenous communities in Canada, we encounter a different yet equally poignant manifestation of internalized racism. Historical and ongoing colonial policies have deeply impacted these communities, leading to a unique form of internalized oppression. For instance, the legacies of residential schools, where Indigenous children were forcibly assimilated into Euro-Canadian culture, have left scars of identity loss and self-devaluation. Many survivors and their descendants continue to grapple with the internal conflict of rejecting their Indigenous heritage due to the shame and inferiority instilled in them. Another stark example is seen in healthcare. Indigenous people often face systemic discrimination in medical settings. This reality leads to distrust in healthcare systems and reluctance to seek help, exacerbating health disparities. The consequences of this are far-reaching, affecting not just physical health but also mental well-being, as individuals may internalize the belief that they are undeserving of care or respect. In education, Indigenous students frequently encounter curriculum and teaching methods that sideline or misrepresent their history and culture. This erasure can lead to a sense of alienation and a struggle with cultural identity, as students are taught to value Western perspectives over their own rich heritage. You've heard me use the term internalized racism numerous times throughout this video, probably to the point of being tired of it. However, I highlight it because I want you to understand the subtleties between racism, a form of external discrimination, and internalized racism, which is a more self-directed racial prejudice. While Canada has made significant societal progress, the past continues to influence the present. The stereotype of Canada as a land of politeness and friendliness often overshadows deeper issues, possibly due to its proximity to the United States. Pierre Trudeau aptly described living beside the US as sleeping with an elephant. Remember your roots and the legacy you carry forward. The past has shaped our society as it is today, and our actions now will shape our society tomorrow. Thank you for watching. If this video has opened new perspectives for you, please support our channel by liking and subscribing. Join our community for more insightful discussions. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Thanks again, and we'll see you in our next video.